In a shocking and tragic case, a teenager named Carlos Hallowell stands accused of murdering his adopted mother, Denise Hallowell. In a chilling twist, this teenage killer believed he could return to a normal life after committing such a horrific act, a belief that has captured widespread attention. 17-year-old Carlos Hallowell from Citrus County was taken to police headquarters after making an urgent 911 call at 6:15 p.m.
Citrus 911, what is the address of the emergency?
4419 Southwest Point. I need someone here immediately right now.
Okay, tell me exactly what's happening.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Just stay on the line with me, okay?
Okay.
He reported a terrifying scene. His mother, Denise Hallowell, lay in bed with an axe lodged in her head. Emergency responders arrived to find a deeply distressed Carlos. His mother was unresponsive and was declared deceased at 6:50 p.m. Denise Hallowell adopted Carlos from Guatemala in 2006 when he was just 4 years old. She raised him on her own. Fast forward to July 13, 2019. Both she and Carlos attended a family friend's funeral in St. Petersburg. After returning home to their secluded lakeside house, they shared apple pie in the kitchen before taking afternoon naps. 3 hours later, Carlos was on the phone with 911. Denise was found face down on her bed, lifeless. Before we proceed, here's a quick question. Where did Denise Hallowell adopt Carlos from when he was just 4 years old? A Mexico, B. El Salvador, C. Honduras, or D. Guatemala? The answer is D. Guatemala. The investigation has been classified as a homicide. To find Denise Hallowell's killer, the police are working swiftly to collect evidence before any leads fade. In the interrogation room, detectives questioned Carlos about what happened, as he was the last person to see his mother alive.
I hear barking from my side of the house, which is abnormal. Our dogs are supposed to be in that little fenced-in area. So the front door was wide open. So went to go find the dogs, checked around the property, looking for them. I couldn't find them, so I went to go wake my mom to help me find them, and then I found her there.
So what did you see when you walked in your mom's room?
It was our axe in the side of my mom's room, and I could still hear her trying to.
The detectives were uncertain about the situation and needed to quickly uncover the events that transpired in the house. At the same time, they had to approach the situation with caution to avoid causing additional trauma to the young man who had just lost his mother. Carlos was remarkably composed for someone who had just discovered their mother deceased with an axe in her head. This demeanor raised suspicions among the detectives, who viewed it as unusual given the circumstances. For now, the detectives are focused on the facts and meticulously working through Carlos's version of events. If his story can be verified, the Citrus County Police will feel more confident directing their attention elsewhere. However, detectives have grown increasingly suspicious of Carlos's truthfulness. Given the severity of Denise's injury, it seems implausible that she could still be breathing, as Carlos claimed. She would likely have already passed away by that time. Investigators are now pressing Carlos for a detailed account of the events leading up to his mother's death. His narrative is inconsistent, and it appears he is attempting to backtrack. When someone is telling the truth, the details tend to be clear and coherent. Conversely, those who are lying often struggle to keep their stories straight, resulting in inconsistencies or unnecessary embellishments. Such discrepancies are red flags for the detectives. About 50 minutes into the interview, both detectives step out of the interrogation room, leaving Carlos alone. After a roughly 20-minute break, the detectives return armed with new information. Did you know that several months prior, Carlos had been reported to the authorities for assaulting his mother, striking her with such force that he broke her arm? After breaking his mother's arm, which he claims was in self-defense, Carlos left the house and stayed with friends for several months. During this time, he began taking medication for depression and started to stabilize. It was only after this period that Denise allowed him to return home. Carlos asserts that he and his mother reconciled and that he was welcomed back with open arms. In reality, however, Denise was terrified of him. She had installed CCTV due to his behavior, as she did not trust him and feared he might harm her again. As the interview progressed, Carlos became increasingly unsettled. He gradually realized that he had transitioned from being viewed as a vulnerable child who had just lost his mother to a potential suspect in the investigation. Throughout the interrogation, Carlos maintained a calm and confident demeanor, presenting himself as composed. However, when faced with direct accusations, he began to show signs of anger and concern, emotions that many would have expected from him right from the start. The police lacked sufficient evidence to hold Carlos any longer, especially since he was a 17-year-old minor. The detectives could not definitively connect him to his mother's murder, so they had no choice but to release him and send him home. As the search for conclusive proof continued, Carlos turned to social media to express his grief and invite friends to his mother's memorial. He received numerous comforting responses during this time of sorrow. 9 weeks after her murder, Carlos was called back into the interrogation room. The detective began by informing him that there were inconsistencies in his account. Did you know? While inspecting his phone, the detective discovered that Carlos was near the lake when he called the police, which contradicted his claim of being in Denise's room. This finding prompted a deeper investigation into his activities at the lake, leading to the deployment of a diving team for a thorough search. Shortly thereafter, detectives uncovered Denise's disconnected CCTV cameras and her mobile phone discarded in the lake behind the Hallowell residence, with 3 cameras found located down by the water. The police informed Carlos that his mobile phone data indicated he never took a nap, contradicting his initial statement. As his entire story unraveled, he ultimately decided to come clean and tell the truth. After confessing to the murder of his mother, the investigators remained puzzled about his motive. Although Carlos explained his reasons for killing her, he still appeared disconnected from the gravity of his actions. Carlos Hallowell was charged with premeditated first-degree murder. While he was not eligible for the death penalty due to his age, he was tried as an adult. In July 2021, he was found guilty of murdering his adopted mother, Denise, and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case of Carlos Hallowell serves as a haunting reminder of the complexities within family dynamics and the tragic consequences that can arise from them. Despite his confession to murdering his mother, the underlying motives remain shrouded in uncertainty, leaving many questions unanswered. Sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, Carlos's actions have forever altered the lives of those who knew them, highlighting the urgent need for understanding and intervention in cases of familial conflict and mental health struggles. If you found this case intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into true crime stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think motivated Carlos's actions? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.